Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Cindy Jarrett and this is Emotional Creativity Training, Ending Relationship Pain. And our focus for today and subsequent videos, this is going to be a bit of a series, is on emotional responsibility. And basically what that means is how are we responsible to be with our emotions, particularly our exaggerated and contractive emotions. Those are the hardest ones usually to be with. Sometimes joy, heavy joy, can be hard to take as well, and there's lots of reasons for that. But it's our negative emotions that really get us into trouble, and particularly in relationships. And I'm of the mind and practice and belief that all things are relationship. Everything is relationship. So when we are engaging with our loved ones and people that we truly care about in our life, we need to understand how to be responsible. And I'm going to hold up a graph here where you can screen grab this graph. Take a screen grab. And for those that know how to do that, I think it's a wonderful thing, screen grabbing. And then that way you have a copy you can copy off. So I teach this to all my clients. It's just foundational to the conundrum that we have. All the problems we have in life right now is all, when you water it all down, it comes down to emotional immaturity. Any problem that's going on right now. When you really get down, underneath the deeper layers, it's all our breakdowns, all our issues, all our pains is a function of emotional immaturity. And we have this emotional immaturity because we don't have enough emotional education. And then with emotional education, there comes the integration of those teachings and tools and practices that leads to emotional discipline. And when we have emotional discipline, we have emotional freedom. So I teach this to all my clients, and I'm bringing this in segments because there's a lot of content. So this first piece is about just bringing the idea to you that we all have an emotional spin cycle self. And this is our emotional spin cycle self in graph. And our two core emotions is anger and fear. And they work in unison together, and I'll break that down a little bit more. But a lot of times when we are spinning out, we feel off, we are from a 0 to 10 scale, we are a 5 and above, oftentimes an 8, 9, 10. Sometimes we say we're a 15 if we're really enraged and upset or hurt. So, and it's like a spinning that we get into. And you can know that when you feel off, when you feel exaggerated levels, higher levels of anger and fear. And so it's good to know when you're spinning and when you're not. So the problem with being in one's emotional spin cycle self is people tend to use, there's 4 major ways that we communicate conflict. And the 3 that get used the most are the most bankrupt ways of communicating to resolve issues. So a lot of times the 4 parts are aggressive, passive-aggressive, passivity, and or assertiveness. And aggressive, passive-aggressive, and passivity are what we tend to use and reach for when we are spinning out, until we learn what assertiveness is. And some people confuse assertiveness and aggressiveness, like, oh, look at that assertive person. And actually they're not. They're being a bit of a bully and they're being aggressive on the person. And so they're being loud. Aggression is really about controlling and sometimes yelling and, condemning people, judging people, just being fearful. And it really is, it's sometimes considered a win-lose situation, like a win for the aggressor, but it's really a lose-lose because you lose cooperation, you have people walk on eggshells, and you have people afraid of you. So it doesn't really, really work. And then passive aggressiveness is you are a pressure cooker, and you take it, and then you blow. Sometimes it's covert passivity in the passive aggressiveness, and where you'll say something in a very calm, condescending tone of voice, like, why are you wearing that thing? Or, oh, you look so tired right now. I mean, are you feeling okay? And when it's really just someone who is jealous of you and wants to put you down or make you feel bad. So it's also, that use of sarcasm sometimes. Passive aggressiveness can come out through sarcasm. And I invite you to look up those that like sarcasm, want to use it. Oh, I was just kidding. I'm like, were you? Go to the definitions of different books of definitions of sarcasm. I mean, it's cutting, it's biting, it's coercive, tearing of flesh is in the definitions of sarcasm. So it's my least favorite humor form. It's not usually straight talk. And I like to teach people to have straight talk. And then the next one is passivity, where you're just a doormat. You're just always yielding. You're always holding back your thoughts, your feelings, your wants, your needs, your desires. A yes man kind of descriptive would be there. It tends to have people be acquiescing. And it's definitely a lose-lose for the people you live with. They don't know what you really think and feel, what you really want and need. It's hard to, give to you. And those are the three that are of the four that are bankrupt. They don't work when you are dealing with breakdowns or heavy heartache or heart burdens and you are spinning out. So the other fourth method of communicating is when we are in our emotionally creative self, and is the assertive voice. And that's win-win. That's where you're listening, and you're listening with compassion, and you are willing to work things out to completion no matter how long it takes. You have patience, you have trust. You have trust in yourself that you can deal with these heavy emotions. You have trust in your partner, your counterpart, that they will work things out with you to completion. And hopefully you have an agreement in writing that you will emotionally process and honor your emotions that come. And so it's where you really get to be real. You get to own your emotions, but you do it in a responsible way. So a book that I love to recommend to people is called Be Your Best by Linda Adams. Be Your Best by Linda Adams. And you can get that on Amazon. I don't get a toaster or a set of knives for referring her. I just really, really love that book after all these years. And it's just very well written in creating the delineations of aggressive and passive-aggressive and assertiveness distinctions. But sadly, when we have our breakdowns and we are spinning out, most people will reach for aggression or passivity or passive aggressiveness. You'll want to punish the person. You'll get defensive. You'll shut down. You won't communicate. You'll, cold shoulder them. And it doesn't work. It doesn't resolve things. It doesn't bring you out of spinning. So one of the things that you can do as an exercise in your journal is write out what your mother and your father modeled in terms of how they dealt with conflict. Did they do it passively? Did one of them do it aggressively or passive-aggressively? What did you witness growing up? And sometimes for younger people with siblings that are quite older than them, sometimes your sibling relationships are more painful and, influential for you than your parents were. So sometimes that happens. So sometimes you just look at your primary authorities that were in the home and what did they do? And then look and see, push come to shove, when you're under stress, what do you do? What do you reach for as your tools of choice when you are resolving conflict, when you're dealing with pain? What do you reach for? And then you want to look and see, how can I change that if you're using the 3 that are bankrupt? And the Be Your Best book will help you a lot about what it means to utilize the practices of being an assertive person, how to really listen, how to mirror back, how to emotionally process, and I'll be going through a lot of that as well in these videos. So you can write that out and get a sense of, you know, did you get influenced by your parents? Which parent are you most like? And so it's very good to learn the distinctions of the different ones. And I have a term that I like to use with my clients, which is called viable alternatives. And at some point, you're going to learn what are the viable alternatives. And I'll be having videos that are based on the various handouts that I give my clients. And I am the handout queen. I'm known as the handout queen. I have lots of teaching tools, and each handout that I have, it has a teaching that goes along with it. So we'll be talking more and more about viable alternatives and what that looks like and what does that really mean in terms of when you have a particular behavior pattern. If you're doing one of the 3 that are bankrupt, you know, what do I put in its place? And we'll talk about different tools for that. So this is our first chapter, and I'll see you in the next video.